Share on your
Okay.
pages. We are actually live now.
All right.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone.
Mhm.
Hi, everyone. You're welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. Hi, Rose. Kindly, if you join, just put up your name on the comments. We'd love to know who you are, where you're from. Thank you, Rose, for coming in. Good to see you. Thank you, everyone. Just write your name, say hi to us, tell us where you're from, where you're listening to us from. I mean, tonight is such an exciting night. I always say that every Tuesday, but for real, this is gonna be an exciting night also. Yeah, but it's amazing. We have really interesting lineup. Today we're gonna start a bit different. We are discussing your own brand. I mean, and Wangoi is in the house. We just had a
Hi, guys.
interesting discussion behind the scene. Stella, karibu sana. Cornelius from Eldoret, you're welcome. Thank you so much for coming in all the way from Eldoret. Really, we are really glad to have you here. Yeah, thank you so much. So I just want to today we have a curtain raiser. We're doing it a different. Wangoi is special, so we decided that we have to have a curtain raiser for her. So we have our poet, Griffin, the beast. Griffin, karibu sana. So Griffin will just start as we wait for the rest of the people to come in. Griffin, are you ready? Griffin, you can
Yes,
hear me?
I'm ready. Can you get me loud and
Okay,
clear?
very loud and clear. Sawa sawa. Over to you.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, you can go ahead.
Uh, My name is Griffins, and I am a poet. With words correct, words I wisely select, then perfect. Call me Griffins, call this poetry. I write when I'm happy, I write when I'm sad. I write what I feel, my heart, let poetry heal. I write to wipe my tears. I write to challenge my fears. Let poetry be my justice. Let poetry keep me at peace. Let poetry keep my heart in one piece, my voice, my pieces, my pieces, my peace. So let me write. Let me write my word, my word, my world, my world, my word in the world, my word to the world, to you, my poetry, my therapy, my ministry. Oh, yes. And I write for I know love. Let poetry tell my love story. Let poetry record my love history. Love that made me worry. Love that made me sorry. Love that made me stand tall and love that made me fall. Let poetry tell it all. And I write for I am the citizen, abiding by the laws given, in a land full of empty promises, reaching mere wishes. Let poetry cry out. Let poetry speak out. Let poetry shout out for the world to hear. Let poetry speak without fear. Let poetry I write. I will write and write. Write to paint black white. Write to make wrong right. Write to give insight. Write to challenge the darkness with bright light. My pen is all set. Life as a test, I am all set. And so I write. Call me Griffins. Call this poetry. But before I go, allow me to tell you what the griffin is. Can I?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the griffin or the griffon is a supernatural creature that existed so many years ago, with the beak of an eagle and the body parts and legs of a lion. Just like the eagle was believed to be the king of all the birds, to be the king of all the animals, the griffin was believed to be an especially powerful, majestic creature. I am the best beast of beasts. Adrian Mayer, a classical folklorist, proposes that the word griffin was an ancient misconception derived from the fossilized remains of the Protoceratops found in the gold mines of the Altai Mountains in Scythia in present-day southeastern Kazakhstan. In antiquity, it has been a symbol of divine and a guardian of divine. Some have suggested that the word griffin is cognate with the word cherub. It has rode the chariots of Apollo, Pharaoh, Nemesis, and Alexander the Great, a major heraldic animal. It has been emblazoned onto the shields of knights and onto the coats of arms of royalty. It has been swift and rapacious, holy and divine, holy and divine. Call me griffins, call this poetry. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
wow.
Well done. Thank you so much,
Thanks,
Griffins.
bro. Thanks,
Thank
bro.
you so much
Mm,
for being our curtain raiser. Interesting. You know, this is a joke, but I was telling Steve the other time,
mm,
really, he told me the spoken words. I say, what are we speaking? You know, yeah, spoken word it is.
yeah,
Thank you so much.
really.
So yeah, welcome guys. Thank you so much for attending. Connie, I see you. Frederick, I see you. I mean, karibuni sana. Thank you so much for always coming in every Tuesday. We are really, really grateful. I want to introduce
Mm,
my team. There's Steve Mudosi behind there. He's gonna be our engineer at the back, changing the screens and putting us on the front. Thank you, Steve. But Steve also is a friend,
Most welcome.
of the Incubator Nest Hub and a co-director. Asante sana for being here. Then we have our beautiful, beautiful lady, Wangoi Kili, the lead speak rich. I'm telling you, she is rich. When I say rich, is RICH. She's rich with
Mm-hmm.
information. She has so much. She's bubbly. I'm telling you, tonight we're
I
just going to
see.
be talking and talking. I don't even know if 1 hour will be enough. Eh? So please let's just welcome Wangoi Kili, please, wherever you are. Thank you so much. I mean, Wangoi,
Thanks for
karibu sana
having me.
to the Incubator
Asante
Nest
sana.
Hub. For those who are
Thank you
joining
so
us for the
much.
first time, you're welcome, my dear. For those that are joining us for the first time, this is the Incubator Nest Hub. We are actually an organization or a company that works with entrepreneurs who have business ideas. So if you have a business idea, if you have a friend who has a business idea, please run to our page, reach out to us. We'll be able to work with you and make sure that the right idea is actually structured and you can actually make profits out of that. So with that, today we want to just begin. We are talking about your own brand. Lorna, Connie, Frederick, myself,
Mm,
Steve. Brand, that is it. Because most of the time we realize people don't understand. Is it a difference? Is there a difference between me and the brand, the business, and whoever? The poet Griffin and the brand, who are those totally different people? So
yeah,
Wangoi will really, really want to educate us and give us all information and share everything that she knows. And maybe to start with, Wangoi, who are you?
yeah.
Tell us about yourself.
One of the most difficult questions
I know,
there
right?
is out there. I've had so many people say it's an irritating question when you ask me, tell me about yourself. But
Yes.
let me just try.
Yeah.
You know, my name is Wangui. My work. I think let me start from there. My work,
Yeah.
which is why in my heart of hearts I believe I was created, is to
Mm,
help people gain clarity and
yeah.
confidence in the way that they communicate. And
Yeah.
it didn't come to me, from the very beginning. All this
Yeah.
time, I've worked in communication all my life. I started out in mainstream media as a
Yeah.
news writer, and then
Yeah.
moved into public relations, and
Yeah.
then eventually now moved into human communications. But it took a while because I didn't understand, or for the longest time I could not understand why it was easy for me to read people and read situations until I
Mm-hmm.
got to understand as I started out Lead Speak Reach that my work and what I'm supposed to do is to help people speak with clarity and confidence, whether they're having that conversation privately or publicly. they can be able to do that with clarity. So that's about my purpose. I am married to Charles Keeley, and we also run a production business together. And I am a believer. I am a follower
Mm,
of Jesus Christ. You said to tell
yeah,
you about myself, so I'm telling you
I know, right? Yeah,
all there is. Yeah. So we've recently just celebrated our 10-year anniversary.
that's wonderful.
I can't believe it's been that long. So that's actually it about me in a
Yeah,
nutshell. So recently
yeah,
I've acquired a new brand. I'll be telling you about that. A new brand
yeah,
cap, so to speak,
yeah,
which
yeah,
is people now will call me the bread lady. So because we have recently started making the bread, or rather have
yeah.
recently started taking out bread from my kitchen to share it with a
Yeah.
couple of people. So that's
Wow.
me in a nutshell. But Lead Speak Rich
Yeah.
is really our flagship brand, and
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
it does is really that we actually understand that if people know and understand that even when you're speaking privately, that conversation is a leadership conversation, we would be more deliberate about the way we speak to people, the way we frame our conversations, and we will help enrich people in a way that will leave them whole and will leave them edified.
Wow. That
Yeah,
is powerful. Wangui,
yeah,
that is really powerful. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
awesome, awesome, awesome. I mean, I like what
Mm,
you just said that, you really, really help people communicate, and we'll keep on talking about that. But
yes.
really, what are some of the issues you've seen? I think you've said, are we having a problem communicating?
Um, I think I think maybe not. I think
Mhm,
the issue with our communication, whether it
mhm,
is as organizations or it is on a personal level, I think we
mhm,
speak many times from a place of a lack of awareness. We're not aware what our words sound like to people. We don't think through that other people have a different way of processing information. So, for example, and let's just use the example of the different brands and what has happened. When you see a brand where something has gone wrong, for example,
yeah.
um, say a power company, let's
Mm,
not mention names, and something
mhm,
happens, and the way they then come back to speak to the people that are affected by what has happened really does not reflect the spirit of care. In fact, I don't know if you've heard people saying, yeah, in many of, like when we have customer service week, a lot of
mm,
people feel that it's very superficial
yeah.
communication. And I think
Yeah.
for me, what I have seen is that we have communication that is not authentic.
Mm,
Either we're speaking people to be blunt. Have you've heard people say, I say everything, whatever is in my head, I'll just say it, which is
yeah.
clearly a lack of wisdom.
Yeah.
Or some people end up not saying anything, so you're just
Exactly.
speaking right here on the surface, and that
Yeah.
is something that anybody across the ages, whether you're talking to young children, middle-aged children, teenagers, adults, even in organizations, people
Mm,
pick up that inauthenticity very, very
mhm,
easily, because I
mm,
think as human beings we are created for connection, and when
yeah.
that connection is not happening, you tend to feel a bit of resistance, or what we would call dissonance. So that's what I've seen many times with my clients, especially the coaching clients. That's the level I've seen. Someone has something to say, and when you sit down with them, they are very clear on what they have to say, but it's not coming out as such because there is gaps in between where communication has not sort of been clarified by a level of self-awareness. I guess we would also
Wow.
call that emotional intelligence.
I know, right? I mean, and
Yeah,
this is a
yeah.
wide topic. We could go all the way to
Yes, it is.
communication, to emotional
Yes,
intelligence. Let's
yes,
go back to branding. What is
yes.
branding? How would you describe
Hmm.
branding?
Branding is an identifier. It
Mm,
is a marker that identifies you, or a marker that identifies a product or a service that is connected to what you're doing. And so we will look at things like maybe a logo, but we will also look at values. Like for example, Ivy is reliable. That's a brand that you can push. across different elements, whether you are a trainer, whether you are producing fresh produce, whatever it is that you're doing, that then is something that you can push. So I'd say there is so much on branding. In fact, I don't even think we can cover a portion of what is done or written or exists on branding. But branding, simply put, and especially for those of us that are starting out in small businesses, is an identifier,
Mhm.
something that is a
Yeah.
mark that has you. It has your name on it. It could be your logo, it
Yeah.
could be your product,
Yeah.
it could even be
Yeah.
you as a person, as the brand.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I like that.
yeah.
Branding is an identifier.
Is an
I mean, very
identifier.
clear.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And we look at it in many ways because you
Hmm.
look at people like Zuckerberg. You look
Yes.
at people like the late, the Safaricom chief that passed
Yes,
away,
yes,
and
yes,
everyone
Bob.
that thought about Mark, yeah, they
Mm.
actually thought about Safari. And sorry, Facebook. Everyone that
Yes,
thought about Bob, they
yeah,
thought about Safaricom.
yes, yeah.
How
Bob
do you get
Green.
to that place? Yeah,
Clarity,
how do you
yes.
get to that place? Yeah, sorry, can you hear me?
Okay, I think I lost you a bit, but now I can hear
Okay,
you, I think.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
How do you get to that place? I mean, yeah, how do you get to that
How
place?
do you get to the place where you are an identifier? You build. You
Yeah,
we build it. And by the way, here is the thing. I think whether we are building it intentionally or not, we always have a brand. When you show up in a place, and this is something. I mean, it's basic knowledge for many communicators. Uh, Communication is 7% words only. 93% of our communication is the things that we do not say. So even though these two gentlemen that you have given have built a brand, they have been consistently looking at building a brand. So they're deliberate about building the identifier that they want the people that matter to them to look at them as. If you don't do that, you will still build a brand, but it will not be a deliberate brand. And so
yeah,
what happens is that you will find that you're in a place where you have what you're communicating is haphazard. We're not very clear on what your identifier is. And I'm seeing, I think somebody in the comments saying that a brand is a promise. It is saying, I will do this and delivering exactly what you said you would do. So if you're not being deliberate, like the two brands and many wonderful brands across the board, big business, medium businesses, even small businesses and
mm-hmm,
individuals, if you don't become deliberate about the values that you want to have associated with you, then you will
yeah,
build a haphazard brand. So it's
yeah,
there. The
yeah,
identifier is there, whether you're
yeah,
building it or not.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
it's that
yeah.
actually what you're trying to say is it starts with the values that you build because that's what you promise the people, right?
Absolutely. Values are
Yeah,
foundational. By the way,
yeah,
before we even get to the logos, before we get to the
yeah,
colors, before we get
yeah,
to this is what we're going to put out in the market, what are your
yeah,
values? And this is what I
yeah,
say.
yeah,
Look at many small businesses. When you start
yeah.
out, at times you will not start out with one product. In fact, many businesses then
Mm,
grow up with different products. So it could be
correct.
Ivy, you could be
Mm,
Ivy, the trainer or the business
mm,
support manager, but you could
mm,
also be Ivy, the fresh produce lady. You could also be Ivy, the jewel maker. All those are brands, individual brands associated with you. However, because all these brands as a growing business, you're the one who needs to support them, because I'm sure we'll talk about it later in this conversation. The fact that especially for small businesses, you are always the face of your business. You are the number one marketer and salesperson for your business. And because of doing all those things, then what you see is that it makes a lot of sense. And actually, I would say is common sense to actually establish your brand values before you even now design the what the physical attributes of the brand. What are your values? If Ivy wants to be known as a person of integrity, then that spreads across your fresh produce,
Yeah.
it spreads
Yeah.
across your business management elements, and it spreads
Yeah.
across your jewelry. If you want to have stability, it means that you
Mhm.
will always be the brand that will always, if we can't do it, we will tell you that we cannot do it. If we can do it, we will make sure that we do it, and we will exceed your expectations. Set the values first. I can't
Wow.
emphasize this enough, because so
Yeah.
many of us in business, whether we are starting out, even at middle level,
Yeah.
we put that in the back burner. We put branding in the back burner. We think,
True.
I need to think about operations, I need to think about getting business, I need to think about setting up, I need to think about salaries at the end of the month, I need to think
Yeah.
about regulation, I need to think about
Mm.
taxation, but we don't think about
At all.
building the brand. And here is why: it is
Mm.
intangible. Taxation
Mm.
you can see,
Correct.
operations you can see, but this
True.
this thing that you're telling, brand, is intangible. And I think this is also the dissonance that
Yeah.
many of us, I don't know if there's those of us in the audience, when you're dealing with services, it always feels like that. It's intangible. And so, because you can't quite quantify what this is by looking at it physically, I told you I sell bread. Bread is easy because you can see the bread. This is the bread, it's packaged, this is what it looks like. But how do you sell a brand? How do you show a brand or a brand value?
Mm.
You see? And I think so many of us starting out in business will tend to put this in the back burner, because it doesn't quite make sense why you should be intentional about pursuing your brand value. But what here is the thing, though, with technology and with so many examples of very many people rising, people are beginning to see the importance and the power of brands. Even brands that previously were unknown, say 2, 3, 5 years ago, have
Yeah.
become leading household names today.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think sorry.
Okay. I lost.
No, I was muted. Sorry.
Okay.
So I
All
think
right.
I think this is absolutely beautiful because Wangoi,
Yeah.
one of the things we keep on doing in our businesses is
Mm-hmm.
create everything else. We think branding is all about the colors. We think
Yes.
about our
Yes.
websites.
The logo.
We
Mm-hmm.
never the logo. That's the first
Yes.
thing we think about.
Yes.
We never
Yes.
look at values as part of the
Yes.
also part of what we need to do in our businesses.
Exactly.
And this is
Yeah.
part of the brand. And even as
Yes.
Stella has said, even the promises that we're going to
Yes.
give is part of your brand. What you're
Yes.
known to other people,
Mm.
that's what actually works. Because we have
Yeah.
small businesses that are doing much better than bigger businesses because they actually
Absolutely.
keep their promises or
Yeah.
they actually say they will produce hi, I lost
Hi.
someone again.
I'm right
Hello,
here. So you were talking about brands producing. They will say, the small brands that say they
can you
will
hear me?
produce this, and that's exactly what they do. Yes, I can.
Yes, we can hear you. Yeah, you can continue,
Okay,
Wangoi. Yeah,
okay,
we can hear you. Yes,
yeah,
Wangoi,
All
you can
right.
continue.
Okay.
Yes, sorry.
okay, cool.
Okay.
Sorry about
I was just picking up on a point that Ivy was sharing about
Yeah,
bigger brands and smaller brands. Ivy, that's what you were talking about. That
yeah,
yes,
that
yes,
you have smaller businesses that have become established, and they are trusted more by their customers because of their value. They say that they will deliver, then they
yeah,
deliver. If they tell
yeah,
you, if I see Edith here, when Edith is doing her granola, when she tells you this is what is in that granola, then that's exactly what you're getting. She's weighed it, she's done what there needs to be done, and she doesn't. There's not all that, there's no lying around it. What she gives you, what she tells you she will give, is what she produces.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Amazing. And I think what you're trying to say also, the business and you can never be different. I know when we are talking about businesses, we say, the person
Yeah,
and the business are
yeah,
two different entities. But what you're trying to
yeah,
say, what I hear you say is there's no
yeah,
difference. The owner of the business and the company are one and the same. Is
yeah.
that true?
Yes.
Is that the truth? Yeah.
Now, here is the thing, and this is now, I think, where we're moving into in this new frontier that we are looking at.
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
businesses are becoming relationship. So where
Mm.
we've come from a place where we were so encouraged. When businesses were starting out, you're told, put structures in place, make sure that you have people that are doing this and that for you, and make sure that you have structures in place. And whilst that conversation is still extremely valuable and is still important and true, small businesses, even as you start up, set up structures as you go along. The thing that now becomes critical is relationships. And this is what sets apart good businesses from not so good businesses. Relationships
Mm.
with the people that supply you, relationships with the people that are your customers, relationship with your staff and employees. Those are the relationships. In fact, it becomes so important for the business owner to be a relationship
Mm.
builder. That's the
Wow.
brand that you build. So yes, the business is growing on different fronts, on the operational fronts and what have you, but you
Yeah.
become the key relationship builder. That means that
Yeah.
you are the face of your business. That means when your
Yeah.
business messes up, you don't hide behind tons of
At
releases
all.
and layers of English, well
Mm-hmm.
well written statements. You
Mm-hmm.
actually come out and say, we did this, we were
Yeah.
wrong, and this
Yeah.
is what we need to do.
Yeah.
This is
But
how we are going to correct. This is how we are
eh,
going to make this right.
yeah. But most of
Yeah,
us in our businesses, we hide in the
yeah,
structures. So even when things
absolutely.
go wrong, you will actually have
Yeah,
some other person coming in and saying, this is what happened and this is how it's going to be. So
yeah,
we never even see the
yeah,
face of the business or the face of the
yeah,
person. And as you've rightly
yeah,
said, things have
yeah,
changed. It's all about
yeah,
relationships that you've formed. How do we
yeah.
change that? What do we need business people to actually put in place to have their brands well known?
I'm actually glad that you asked that because
Yeah.
it comes forth in my work a lot. And you know what? You
Yeah.
cannot have good relationships with your customers and with your employees if you don't have a good relationship with yourself. And that's where we need to start. If you were to look at what is the weak link in business, it is the internal conversation of many of us that are entrepreneurs and founders. Because in one given day, and I hope there are entrepreneurs who will bear me witness, you go from we are getting there to I cannot do this. Why was I doing this in the first place? Am I even worth it? Who do I think I am? Where do I think? That internal conversation, that relationship that you have internally becomes very, very critical because as a lot of us deal with what is inside, and I think maybe we also take it for granted as entrepreneurs that we are having to handle a lot because you're holding up a business over and above. It's challenging in and of itself to just try and set up systems within a business. But try and set up systems within a business while you yourself are having a lot of internal conversation that also needs to be worked out. So I'd say this,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
this is I think an orthodox, so to speak. Probably you won't hear this in a lot of business conversations, but I think the
Yeah.
first relationship starts with the relationship that we have with ourselves. How do
Yeah.
we view ourselves? Where do we what is our anchor? Where do
Yeah.
we anchor all of this dissonance that we feel? Where do
Yeah.
we anchor all of this, when we try and make it look like we have it all together? And
Yeah.
many times people expect us to actually look like we're having it all together and we don't have it all together. We need an
Yeah.
anchor. So
Yeah.
that place of a friend of mine aptly puts it, Phyllis Webby calls it self-care, and she says that it's one of the most important things. You will only be as good as the care that you give yourself. So
Mm.
um there is that's
Mm.
the place where it starts. And then as we begin to have that internal conversation worked out, we can then begin to also listen to
Mm.
people from where they are at. And
Yeah.
understanding that helps us in more than one way. Actually, it helps us understand people as they are, because if you have employees, you will have different types of employees with different
True.
capabilities, different personalities. And as you begin to understand them, then you know what each needs. And as you now learn to be a relationship builder, that's what you do. In the
Mm.
places where you are building your business, you are also looking to build profitable relationships around each area that needs to work within the business. That's my thought about that. And I know I'm speaking about this as a person who's very passionate about helping people clarify their
Yeah.
communication and speak confidently about it. But I think for me, I've seen that as something critical for business owners. By the way, whether you're starting out, whether it's at
Yeah.
middle level or whether you're growing, that aspect of self care and being able to actually have a relationship with yourself. Do you even like sitting with yourself? Do you even like sitting with your thoughts and engaging them and that sort of thing, so that you can also have time to engage with others and sit with them and also give a listen to what they need to what they have to say.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you,
Yeah.
Wangui. I mean, before we go to John Nganga's question, one of the
Yes.
things we do at the incubator Nest Hub, the first thing we do is actually
Mm-hmm.
look at your personality, work into your
Yes.
individual self, your mind, yourself.
Yeah.
Because what we
Yeah.
realize is every time you're working with an entrepreneur, if their
Mhm.
mindset is wrong, the business
Yes.
will be wrong. Everything will be wrong. They
Absolutely.
won't even have values in the business. So it becomes very important for them first to know themselves, then now
Mm-hmm.
to work out on the structures of the business. And
Yes.
that has been working very well. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Ongui. Now let's just
Yeah.
go back to the questions
Very
and
good.
also just comments
Yeah.
there. So John
Yeah.
Nganga, karibu sana. Is there a difference between reputation and a brand?
Yes. The spelling, reputation is spelled differently and brand is spelled differently. No, of course. Sorry, sorry, John. Of course, there's a difference between reputation and a brand. I think reputation is what you are known, what your name is out there. Reputation,
Mm,
how people view you. But I think a
mm,
brand, like I said, is an identifier, and a
mm,
brand is also the place where you can put intention into it. What
mm,
identifies you? You can have a
mm,
reputation as very efficient, very timely
mm,
delivering business. But your
mm,
brand can also be crisp and have a feeling of freshness, and it gives an experience that, by the way, matches that reputation. Or it could be different. Your reputation could be negative. People think, those ones are not very, very reliable, but the brand says, no, we are reliable and this is what we do. I'll give you an example, and without mentioning names. There's one of these electronic companies, a lot of them. So one has a reputation, and the reputation is what people view it out there, has a reputation and a notoriety for very poor customer service. I mean, you will
mm,
want to get a replacement for something, or you will want them to deliver something, but the way their staff treat you is completely different from what the brand says. So the brand will tell you how their products are easy to use, and their simplicity and their crispness and all that. But the reputation that follows after you experience them is completely different. So
mm,
there is a sweet spot, and the sweet spot is when the reputation and the brand value promise, actually, or the brand identifier match, are at the same
mm.
level. So your reputation is efficiency and your brand speaks efficiency. Or
Yeah, yeah,
your reputation is inefficient and your brand is inefficient. And I doubt there's any one of us over there. But the sweet spot
yeah,
is when both of them match and they positively match.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah,
Maureen
yes.
Mwangi, karibu sana. Wangoi, you're clearly a good communicator. Very
She
correct.
can
Even me,
say
I'm
that.
fearing to
There's a
talk.
snake.
No, but Thank you
Yes.
so much. I mean, Rose,
Yeah.
Rose, I agree about developing relationship. I think it's very, very
Yeah.
key. That can also be
Yeah.
your brand, because
Yeah.
relationships now are becoming key. But Wangoyo,
It
as you
They're
speak, I keep,
important in business.
yeah, yeah. I keep
Mhm.
thinking about
Yeah.
brands that we still keep on sticking on, even when
Uh-huh.
they are really, really messing us up. How do you deal with
Yeah.
that? Because you will find even our small businesses where things are bad, but because we don't have an option, we'll still
Yes.
buy. So how
Yeah.
do you deal with that kind of conflict
For as a business owner or as a customer?
as a business owner and also as a customer, both?
I think as a business, um, wow, I can think of some pretty, some brands that really give us headaches,
I,
you
I
know,
know.
that we
Without
won't,
mentioning
that we won't,
names.
without mentioning names. But most of them you will see will probably be providing key services or
Mm,
services that are not, not many people are within the sector that they're in
mm.
has a what? There's not many people within
People who
that
do it. Yeah, yeah,
sector or people who are doing it, and so
yeah.
they can feel they can really um, be very uh, laid back when it comes to what customers do. For such businesses, by the way, it's either that they are institutionalized or it's
Mm,
just become a way of life. But I think there
yeah.
is a good place, and I think we can mention a brand here. I think many of us will probably remember. I think it's much better now. We'll probably
Mm,
remember when um, a brand like Safaricom had very, very, very bad customer service. You could not get through. And people complained and they called them the bitter option. And you know that they actually did something about it. I mean,
mm,
they are not where they were,
mm,
at that time, but they really did bring on an improvement. So I think for businesses where especially people keep complaining, I think at the point where people keep complaining, and I can think of very many brands, at the place
mm,
where people have taken the time to tell you your services are not matching up, it
yeah,
means they are still invested in your brand.
yeah,
By the time, because many times, if they are not invested, by the way, even in a small business, how many businesses have you worked out? You come in, you make an inquiry, nobody responds, and you move along. You
yeah,
don't bother
yeah,
to give feedback, you just move along. That's
yeah,
indifference. But at the place, I
yeah.
think a business should understand, at the place where people are actually telling you this is not working or this I'm frustrated by this,
Mm,
it means that they're still invested in that business, and you owe it to them to actually find
yeah,
out again through relationship building how this can be handled. I think for
yeah,
us as customers, then
yeah.
I think I would actually say the same thing. But I think for us, maybe as a population, one of the things that we need to do is also move away from brands that don't provide us with what we need. I know many
Mm,
tons of small upcoming businesses, for instance, that do very very good products, very good home products.
yeah,
Albeit they might be a little expensive, but they are the real deal. When they tell you that there is
mm,
meat in our sausage, that's exactly what they'll provide you. When they tell you that
yeah,
they have used only the best ingredients when they are doing their baking, or
yeah,
they are making their food, that's exactly what
yeah,
you'll get. And probably
yeah,
one of the things that I need to do is also work on or work with brands that are actually doing that, brands that
mm,
provide value or live up to the values of integrity. I have a friend of mine, actually, it should be Stella. She's somewhere in here. And one of the things that, Stella and I are big on is integrity. The integrity
mm,
of especially for smaller businesses. Someone says that they will do this and they do it. It completely, bowls us over. It is the one thing that can keep me buying from a certain business, because when you tell me
yeah,
that this is what you're providing me and you actually provide it, I feel that
yeah,
there is a level of respect. So I think for
yeah,
customers also to be self-aware on what it is that we're looking for in brands,
mm,
um, and what it is that we're looking to grow within those brands,
mm,
um,
mm,
and what value we're also bringing into the different businesses that we are plowing
yeah.
into. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
amazing, Wangui. And you mentioned Stella. You know, Stella is the girl that keeps on has the awards of Bure Kabisa awards.
Yes,
So if
actually, yes. That's
if
a
you
brand right
actually
there. You do
the
not
brand
want to
right there,
provide
it's
her
called Bure Kabisa.
with poor
Yes,
services. Yes,
poor services. If you provide poor
yes,
services, just like Bure
yeah,
Kabisa, and it causes chaos
absolutely. Your
on social
reputation is
media.
your life. Guard it well.
Exactly,
Yes,
exactly. So
yeah,
thank you so
yeah,
much. Yeah, just let me just thank you so much for everyone who's attended. If you have any question or comment, please
yeah.
just put it up. I really also want to appreciate a team
Excellent.
called the SME Think Tank, which I'm part
Oh,
of and
yes,
Wango is part of. I
yes,
mean, and most of
yes.
them I see them here. SME Think Tank is a group of directors of owners of businesses that we've come together
Shout out
since
to them.
the shout out to
Yes,
them and thank you so much for coming
yeah,
in your numbers. I really, really
yes,
appreciate you all.
yes.
So
That's a
SME Think
brand
Tank,
right
thank
there,
you.
by the way. Watch out
Yeah,
for those
exactly.
ones.
Exactly. That's a big
Yeah,
brand right there.
yeah. Actually, let's talk
Amazing.
about SME think tank for a bit, because we
Yeah,
were having this conversation with a few of the members on.
yeah,
We had a brief interaction a few weeks ago, and one of the
yeah.
things that came out, or at least across the table, people felt that the forum feels like I can share of myself. I finally feel understood. That's actually a
True.
brand. I finally
Completely.
feel understood. Many times we
Yeah,
will get into a place, and then all they are talking to about SMEs. You're an SME to them. SMEs,
true,
put your structures in
true.
place. Do this, do that. Make sure you have this. Make sure you have this. And then you come
Yeah.
into this space, and you're a human being who's running a business. That's
And it's
valuable.
okay. And it's okay
That is
where you are at.
valuable. Yes,
Exactly.
yes.
And that's a brand. I like
Yeah,
what you said
that's
because
valuable.
I mean,
Yeah,
if you look at the SME think tank, we all
yeah,
have come into a place where we are starting businesses. Other have been there for 30 years, and we all
yes,
feel at the same level and we're learning from each other. And
absolutely.
that is a
People are
brand.
human
So
in there. Yes,
exactly. People are human, and that's a
yeah,
brand. So I
yeah,
like the way we simplify things. That brands is not all the things that we keep on saying. It's the
yeah,
numbers, or the nice logos that we present. But even the things
yes,
that we do and the things that we make people feel, that's still a
mm,
brand. If I make you feel
yeah,
good, then you know what?
yeah,
You're creating a brand, and I'm able to come in. And for SME
yeah,
Think Tank, every Thursday morning we are there. I
mm.
mean, whether you have and
Yes,
you create an agency, you want to be there. That's a
you
brand, and I
actually
think
want
I
to be
like that.
there. Yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Well,
yeah,
in SME
yeah,
think tank, Stella, that correct, correct. Thank you.
yeah.
So let me
Yes, well,
let me read the comment for Catherine. Maybe Steve, you can put it up. Catherine Eric.
oh yeah,
I
I
know
can see
customer
that. Yeah.
service is the real deal in business. Unfortunately, many businesses take it for granted, especially taking customer concerns casually. What would you say about that, Wangoi?
Actually, Catherine, you are so right in what you say. And I think this is again the weak link and the opportunity for growth for many small businesses. By the way, if you're still working on your product or you're still working on your service, please work on your customer service, not the superficial hi customer, the customer is always right, sort of, on the surface conversation. Really seek to know your customers. You're a small
Yeah,
business, have conversations with your customers, ask
yeah,
them. Like for instance, me with my bread, let me ask people, do you like the taste? Does it work for
yeah.
you? Is it too much? Is it too little? Do you like, what the weight is at? What is it that we can do for you? Take the time to actually understand what your customer requires. I think many times the reason why, small businesses, with big businesses, at times it's because we may not be their target, but with small
Mm,
businesses it's because we haven't taken the time to even understand who this customer is. What are they looking for? Maybe we are
mm,
selling them big things, and maybe they want things in smaller, for us to break the bulk. But then they don't want to
exactly.
come there and tell you, we want you to break the bulk, we want Kadogo economy. They want you to actually be the one that's perceptive enough to look at
Mm,
what their needs are and be able to understand this is what this customer requires. Let me tell you why,
yeah.
I think if there is a brand, let me use a big business. If there's for me, and I've grown up in this country, there is one thing I need to say something about one of the big retailers here. I have not seen a
Mm,
retailer as the newest retailer. I have not seen a retailer that is responsive to customer service the way they are. Have you know the
mm,
way you buy something, and when you want to return it because it has an issue, you could never do that because you're thinking that
mm,
it's just going to give me hell. Now these guys, when you take
mm.
it back, no questions asked. They give you back your cash. If you tell them
Wow.
I took this and it broke, no questions asked. That,
Wow.
just that understanding that I
Wow.
don't want you to give me credit note. I want you to give
Mm-mm.
me back my money. That one thing, that will keep them
Wow.
growing.
Wow.
Understand what, and by the way, as customers, people think that customers need so much. Customers
Mm.
need respect. Now for you, and the business
That's true.
of your business is to decode what that respect is for each of your
Mm,
customers. If
mm, mm,
respect for your customers means that you're delivering tights, say you sell tights, like ladies tights,
mm,
and
mm.
you're delivering them well wrapped, if that is what respect means for them, then so be it.
Do it.
If it means
Yeah.
that you give them a call and you find out
Yeah.
how they are, not to tell them niko hapa kwa gate ama nimefika, I am, that sort of thing, not to be casual
Yeah.
with them, then that
Yeah.
is it. If your business means that your customers want proper packaging, then decode
Yeah.
it. We need to,
Yeah.
as small businesses and as we are growing, decode what the customer need is, decode what that respect means in the
Yeah.
language of your customer. It's like taking this word respect and then translating it into the different mother tongues. Look at that.
Yeah.
It's just an example I'm giving. Translating it to the
Yeah.
different mother tongues and seeing this is
Yeah.
customer A, customer B, customer C. They all understand it differently. That's one.
Yeah.
Two, we need to begin to understand how people are like. I don't know what it is about this nation. A friend of mine says that it's like we are all an angry people, but we don't give each
Yeah.
other the space to express ourselves as we are. If you'll go into a shop. If for instance you're well spoken in English, people will say, "Why are you coming here with your?" They think you have an attitude because you are speaking in English. Others will look down on you if you look like you don't know what you're saying. That whole business of not being able to understand people types and personalities is also a huge setback in our businesses. If you
Yeah.
are in business, whether you are in products or services, please, there is a human being behind
Behind.
the cash that you're getting for that product or service. And that human
Mm,
being matters. There's things about them. They are not some random customer. They are a human being that has thoughts, that has feelings, that
yeah.
has a family, that is respected. It is the one thing I've learned about. I think for me, understanding this helped me with the conversation, especially when you're dealing with people at, like for us at security, when you're getting into a place where you're getting into a security, you have to pass through security. And
Mm,
many times we just, the way we just call them soldier, or we don't even say hi to them or acknowledge them. I started to see, by the way, this is a man who probably has a family, a wife, people that actually look up to him, and he
mm,
means much to them. If I can begin to understand that he's coming from that place, then I can, what does it cost me to show respect and to just understand that that is his space, and to really uh, give him the opportunity to serve me by keeping quiet and letting him do what he needs to do, or letting her do what she needs to do. The same thing with the
yeah.
people, especially, and I think for us in business, please check your attitude or with people who are a rank or several ranks lower than you,
Lower.
people that serve your food when you're out, people that work with you at home, employees in the office, people that pick your fare when you're in a mart or that sort of thing. watch how your attitude is with those people. That will tell you a lot about how you treat your customers, I dare say.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
And
yeah,
Wangoi, you're breaking it up so well.
yeah. Thank
Branding,
you.
identity.
Yeah,
What is the identity? And even up to personality, and I like that. Thank you so much.
yeah,
Angie is saying
yeah,
when customers give you feedback about your brand, it shows that they're interested in what you do. Take it positively and work
yes,
on it. I picked that from
yes.
Wangoi. Correct. That is actually very,
Thank
very
you,
powerful.
Aggie.
I like also
Yeah,
what Roslyn is saying. The language used by riders who deliver sometimes is disgusting,
mm,
which can cost the business. I think proper
yeah,
training should be done, just as you're saying, in regards to respect. Very
yeah.
correct. But also, I
Oh,
think
yes,
also for
you're
us
right,
to
Rosalind.
take, yeah, to take that
Mm,
example even in our businesses, even in our
yes,
workplaces, and use that
yes,
as much as possible, because also
yeah.
that becomes part of your brand. People will look at you, Rosalind,
Mm,
and say, "Ah, Rosalind is a very nice person." What they're just saying is,
yeah.
you've already done your brand there. Your brand is you're a nice
Yes,
person,
yes,
and that is the best
yeah,
thing that can actually come out. Catherine
yeah,
Eric, Wangoi,
yeah.
kindly tell us who they are. We need to know them. That an excellent boss should report will love to
I think
show
she's
them.
talking about the retailer.
Exactly.
I think she's talking about the retailer, and I think that retailer
Yes.
would be Carrefour.
Yes.
Yeah, but I want to say something about what Rosaline has said about
Mm,
riders. And I think, okay, let me implore anyone, especially those of us who use delivery services. Please, can we take part of our brand, or part of our delivery is the riders that we use.
yep.
I
Yep.
think we need to take responsibility for it before we sort of have a place where we can get all the riders to do training. The ones that you're using, start from there. Let
Mm,
them understand what needs to be done. Let them understand what is a standard. I have um, 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 a supplier, and
mm,
I she is really, really good with selecting the people that do delivery. So once, quite recently, they had come in to deliver something that I had needed, but my times were not they did not I was not there when they needed to deliver it, and I had asked them, why don't you just leave it with so and so, and then I'll come and pick it up. Do you know, the delivery person understood that what was being delivered was so important. He told me, you know what? Are you too far? I said, no, I'm about 15 minutes out. They said, it's fine. I'll wait. And when I came, they waited for me to actually settle down. And then they called
mm,
and said, I waited. Can I come up now? And I thought, wow,
yeah.
that is extraordinary, because he's understood what the business person is offering, and why it is important to have that kind of relationship. So I think also, if you're here and you're in business and you do deliveries, don't just get anybody doing delivery. And if you do get somebody, train them, let them know, just
Yeah.
understand that the delivery part of the business is also part of your brand.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Wangoi, I
yeah,
love
yeah.
that.
So I just
And I think
thanks
it
Rosaline
goes
for
back.
raising that.
Yeah. I think it also goes back to what you had said. When you understand your
Yeah,
values, you're able to cascade
yes,
your values to the rest of the people. Then it
across,
becomes easier for your
exactly,
values to keep
across
on
the whole
across.
system.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes,
Amazing,
yeah, that's
amazing.
true.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
Janie, I tend to stop doing business with brand after a poor service experience. Proper customer service can be an excellent differentiator for your customer. Correct.
For
That's
your
very true.
customer.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true, Janie. Yeah, and I think if that's the same Janie, she's gotten me. I think I've done business with her, and I can understand why she's talking about customer service, because she's really personal with it. So if it's the same
Mm.
Janie that I think it is, then yes, she she's really good with her own customer service and personal delivery.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Felicia Wanjiro. I once met an entrepreneur who would refund fare to regular customers when regular clients found that the entrepreneur had run out of stock, goods in the
Oh.
client's list. This was excellent customer service. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
see that now. You see
Beautiful.
that? That's exactly. He built that is value right there.
Mm,
You
mm,
are you have integrity and you respect the customers that build your business. I think that is really wow. That's quite
absolutely.
right
Yeah.
up there. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, a good example. Lucy
yeah,
Mudeo, I once ordered food delivered by a rider. The food never came, so you have to identify
yeah,
reliable ones.
yeah,
Very true.
yeah.
And I'm
Apparently,
sure they
yeah,
never
this is
even
the
called
story.
you.
Yes, this is the story. But you know what? Let me ask
Yeah,
something. But probably for the food delivery service people, then we need to understand why this is happening, because these incidences
true.
are too many. So many people are
Yeah.
saying, I ordered for food, it comes half eaten, the rider doesn't show up. I've
Mm,
paid for food, it went to the rider. There's a gap right there. What
yeah.
needs to be done?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm,
that's also
that's true.
speaking to something that needs to be done.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
totally agree
yeah,
with you. And it's something
yeah,
that maybe we need to find a solution around because that's part
yeah.
of customer service. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. But
It
my
is
final
because they're
question, and
customers, by
yeah,
the way. Yes.
yeah, yes, they're customers.
Hmm.
My final
Hmm.
question as we wrap up,
Yes.
we only have five
Mm.
minutes.
Wow. Yeah.
I
Gosh,
can't forget,
already.
we I know, right?
Yeah.
We are in an
Yes,
era
it was
where
Jenny.
we're using
Thanks,
social
Jenny. I'm still
media.
using
It
it.
was Dani.
Sorry. Yes. I'm still. She
Sorry.
brought me one of the best pans that I have. A cast iron pan, and it works beautifully, Jenny. So thank you. So, sorry, Ivy.
Thanks, Janie. It's okay. Jenny, we have
Yeah.
marketed your your pans.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sorry about the broadcast today. But just my
Mm.
final question, Wangui.
Yes.
We are in an
Yeah.
era where we are using a lot of social media. We
Mm.
are all over
Mm.
social media. We are creating a lot of our brands in the social media. How do we balance that? How
Yeah.
do we balance social media, and ourselves as a brand? How do you do the two
Mm.
of them and make sure that it's consistent? Very briefly.
And if Ivy allows me to throw this one there, I was actually waiting for
Yeah.
that question because
Yeah.
I work a lot with young people, and memes, the kind of memes they put on their status,
Yes.
the kind
Yeah.
of thing they say. I was telling one of the young people yesterday that if someone wanted a serious person who
Mm-hmm.
wanted them to work for, would
Mm-hmm.
I call you? And sometimes this is kind of blurred by the kind of memes you use. You could be a very decent person, but the kind of memes you
Yeah.
use, the kind of status. So
Yeah.
I wanted to jump in here and just ask that because sometimes we are branding ourselves on social and we don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can pick that from there with questions, Ivy. So with Ivy's question.
Okay. I think
Okay.
I think with social media, um, wow, it is so a part of us. And I think if you're keen on um having a brand that is deliberate, then you need to align what is going on with your own values and what your business is supplying with social media. Now, I think we're still getting to this place where it's getting so hazy between what is real and what is not
Yeah.
real. But I think what we need to do is consistently tell um, um, stories. People ask, how do you create stories around social media? I say, don't create the stories. Tell your stories as they are. Just find creative
Wow.
ways across social media to tell them.
Mhm.
So if you're using Facebook, if you're using Twitter, because again, it can get overwhelming to be everywhere unless, I mean, with really powerful influencers, you're going to find them everywhere. But I think with if you're a small growing business, one of the things that would help is to first identify or at least understand which platforms will work well for your business. If it's Facebook, if it's Instagram, if
Mhm.
it's Snapchat, if it's Twitter, the different ones. But I think we'll be overwhelmed if we're trying to sort of catch up with
Yeah.
everything that is going on.
Yeah.
So I'd say
Yeah.
identify the powerful ones and stick
Hmm.
with them. And then
Yeah.
as you
Yeah.
go along, then you'll be able to build your brand as you get along. And maybe, as Steve is asking, with the memes for younger people, even the meme becomes a brand. You've seen because in social media, any sort of thing happens. Even what we sort of tend to think that it will be mainstream, but social media is anything but mainstream. It feels like you will have whatever is viewed as popular will actually carry the day. But we also need to understand that what is popular, what was popular at 1 o'clock is not trending anymore. A few days ago, across the world, we were all talking about, the US election, and now we've moved to a different thing. We're talking about something else. We're talking about, COVID-19 and the vaccine and everything. So social media is also short-lived. So there's a place where, again, we need to go back to also understanding our relationship. It's it's a world of business, and if you can look at it as that, if you can be able to separate yourself from, you're not the number of likes that people put you as, that you still have a life even as you're growing your reputation and your brand on social media, then I think you can find a good balance in there. But I would say find what works, find the ones that work for you, different
Yeah.
platforms that work for you, and stick to them.
Yeah.
If Facebook is what works
Yeah.
for you, then work with Facebook, because again, then you will be overwhelmed in the business of trying to find the business of understanding social media, which may not be very valuable for you
Yeah.
at this point in time. And then as you grow, what I would encourage, just before we started this episode, Ivy, we were talking about collaborations. I think one of the things that, again, would work with business people, like with SME think tank, is the collaboration. Just have somebody who's an expert on social media that can be able to highlight, okay, if we put your brand across this is what happens, and then we can be able to check in what needs to happen. So I think it's important also, if you're a business person and you're not very tech savvy or social media savvy, so to speak, it would help to actually have a collaboration with someone that understands how different platforms on social media work. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Wow. I'm telling
yeah.
you, Wangoi, this has been one good hour that we've
Sure.
spent.
I have
Awesome,
enjoyed
awesome,
myself.
awesome information.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
It's interesting
amazing.
that we
Thank
can't
you
separate
so
brand
much.
from customer service, actually.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's very
Yeah,
interesting. I also thought, you can differentiate, but as we had the discussion, we realized it's almost the same, branding and
yes,
customer
yes,
service. You move
yeah. They're
together,
quite
yeah?
closely
Yeah,
related. Yes, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank
Mm.
you so much. Steve, any parting
Thank you for
shots?
having me.
Somebody, Edith Mkoji is saying, "Oh dear, Lucy, inbox me your number." So please, Lucy, there is someone needs your number. So
Yes,
this Lucy, sure, there's a serious gap. So for
yes,
me, the parting shot is thank you so much for highlighting the fact that there are a lot of stories out there. We can flow the stories, or we can tell our own stories,
yeah,
and the kind of branding that we need
Mm,
to, and
yeah,
the fact that it begins from me and then to the product, so that the law of association comes into effect, so that they see
yes,
Wangui and they see the brand that Wangui stands for.
yes,
They see
yeah,
they see A and they think of B. So do people see
yeah,
you the A and think of it? So that was very, very informative. Thank you
yeah.
very much.
yeah,
Thank you for having me. Thank you for
Yeah,
having me. This was very valuable. Thank you for everyone
yeah,
who came in. The
yeah,
feedback was also
yeah.
very valuable.
Awesome. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Thank
Mm,
you so much. I think we'll end it here. Thank you so much for everyone who's attended. Just go back, like our page, the Incubator Nest Hub. We support entrepreneurs, and this is some of the conversations we have, and some of the best teams that we have. So thank you, everyone.
yeah,
Have a wonderful night, and it's
yeah.
amazing to all of you to see all of you. The SME Think Tank, thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much. Have a good night, and let's
Thank
see
you.
you on Tuesday.
Good night, everyone. Thank you very much.
Good night. Good
see
night.
you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
bye.
Good night.
Mhm.